Can I speak to Rian Johnson, please? Who's that? Pablo Hagada. Pabs, how you doing? Pabs? I need to speak to Rian. He's not in a position to talk right now. Pabs, can you speak a bit clearer? It sounds like you've got something in your mouth, mate. Oh, go away. Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down. Is Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy now dead at Lucasfilm? Now, on last night's John Campier's show, he was guesstimating that that was the case when he was looking at the new slate that goes right up to 2027 that Disney released the other day. Of course, it is guesstimating because nobody actually knows, because Rian keeps on telling us that he, in fact, is still working on his trilogy. And I think Kathleen Kennedy says that's still going on, but we just don't know. So Midnight's Edge, which is a very, very interesting YouTube channel. It does kind of these big documentary on movies and tries to get like big information and get the dirt out. Was trying to guesstimate as well, and it is all guesstimating, as I say. But if we look when we look at it now, it looks like you look at the film slate and the timetable for Star Wars after the Rise of Skywalker. You've got a Star Wars film in 2022, you've got one in 2024, and you've got one in 2026. That's going to be a cohesive trilogy. I don't need anyone to tell me that. It's going to be a cohesive trilogy. But whose trilogy is it going to be? Is it going to be Rian Johnson's, or is it going to be Benioff and Weiss? Look, you can only guess that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are pretty much running the TV Disney Plus Star Wars side of things. It's obvious. Their names are attached to two series, so I think they're going to be running that train. And I think Dave Filoni will be very much involved creatively, or at least as a context of a co-executive producer on the film side as well. So we look at it and we see probably Kathleen Kennedy's remaining as the president of Lucasfilm, but more in a more bureaucratic element rather than making decisions on the movies. And that's why Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau really will be making those big creative decisions. Now, that doesn't answer the question really if we're getting Benioff and Weiss's trilogy or Rian Johnson's trilogy. We did hear rumours last year that, in fact, Rian Johnson's trilogy would be kind of on Disney+. The thing is here, Lucasfilm and Bob Iger are not going to want us, the fans, the man-babies as they call us, to think we've won this situation, that we've bullied Rian Johnson off the project. I'm not a bully. I'm not. I don't name call people. I don't talk about people's weight or personal aspects of people. I look about their work, and Rian Johnson is a really talented independent filmmaker, but unfortunately, it wasn't his fault. He was told he can make any Star Wars film he wanted, and he did. That's how he sees Star Wars, and that's fine. It's not fine with me because I didn't enjoy the film. It's a film that divided the audience, divided the fan base, and they've been limping on ever since. It's very problematic, but what can they do with the problem that is Rian Johnson? As I say, they're not really going to want to make us think that we win. They don't want us to think that we won, right? It's as simple as that. The only explanation I can see, and the only way around this, is that they let him do his trilogy on Disney+. We've still won, basically, because he's not going to be doing the main Star Wars kind of projects that will go to cinema. So let's just carry on guesstimating like John Campier and Midnight's Edge, and let's just assume that he is making a trilogy and it will be kind of reduced to being on Disney+. What kind of timetable are we looking at with that? What could he possibly do on there? I mean, there will be Star Wars mini movies as well as the two TV shows that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are working on. But they haven't been announced. And why? They've given us this big slate. This is the problem with these big slates. They think they're quite clever because they're putting dates down. It's to destabilise the other studios, to force them into making panic decisions about their own slates. That's why Disney do it. Disney are very passive aggressive. It's not about us. That slate is put in the public persona, but it's about getting a reaction really from the other studios, especially Warner Brothers and Universal, which are their main competitors. So that's why that's done. Let's be clear here. But why, you're looking at it, right? Because after The Rise of Skywalker, there won't be a Star Wars film for 3 years. But I believe, and I think everyone believes now, Benioff and Weiss, the Game of Thrones writer-creators, it's their trilogy. That's their trilogy. There's no question about that. I think that's what's going to happen there. Now, if Rian Johnson does get a trilogy, as everyone keeps on saying, and as I've just said, that will be kind of put on the Disney Plus streaming service. That will be a very interesting situation because they don't have to release ratings or how many views that trilogy is going to have. And then after that trilogy, he will never work with them again. But it's a point of saying to us, you haven't won. That we liked The Last Jedi, we liked the money, we liked everything that Rian Johnson did. But there's a greater problem within Lucasfilm since Disney have taken over, and it's these new characters that they've created. They can't push the merchandise. They created characters that just don't sell. They're not very interesting. And there's evidence to say that the merchandise for these new characters isn't being sold, right? So they need to create a franchise that makes money. Because at the end of the day, you can carry on making political commentary, but you're a company, you need to make money. You made a lot of money on The Force Awakens and Rogue One. They were very successful films. No one can say any different. So it's kind of after that where the disaster happened. The Last Jedi, Solo, A Star Wars Story, they are big problems, and they need good characters. They need characters that sell. They need to put butts in seats. I think the reaction to the 2 Star Wars TV shows, the fans are very excited about them. There's a positive element, probably because Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are also attached. So there's no question Bob Iger is getting his Star Wars house in order. So it would be very problematic for him to commission a Rian Johnson trilogy just to say, hey, we've got the muscles and you don't, consumer. At the end of the day, we showed them. We showed them with Solo, A Star Wars Story, who's in charge, who's running things. They may not like it. They may call us man babies. They can call us what we want. There's also evidence to say as many women as men didn't like The Last Jedi. So it's very, very important when you are selling things to the consumer. And this is the problem with Hollywood right now, that they're going down a political kind of commentary. And that's all well and good. But when, you see, the problem is the people who are watching your stuff, who are paying for your stuff, have their opinions. And when you're rubbing their rhubarb, they're going to be offended with you. And they're not going to want to make you money. And this is what happened with Star Wars. And they took a stance and they went bigger and bigger and bigger. They lost. They lost. It's quite as simple as that. So now they have an opportunity with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and D.B. Weiss and Benioff, right, to do something special. But there's another problem now because of what happened with Game of Thrones Episode 3, the Battle of whatever it was, right? I love Game of Thrones, but I can't remember the title. I can't remember anything. I could barely remember Game of Thrones names. But anyway, so because Arya, right, saved the day, kills the Night King, that upset a lot of people who thought that was Jon Snow's moment. Now, I think it's illogical to be so butthurt about that because there's still 2 episodes to go. Jon Snow could still get his moment. The Night King could now be his younger brother who's in a wheelchair. He may have to kill him. It could be a compelling moment. I mean, I don't know what fans would think if my theory comes true there and actually Dany kills Jon Snow so she can remain on the throne and no one challenges her. It's going to be interesting what happens there. I think there is now a lot of Star Wars fans kind of turning on Benioff and Weiss because of what they did with Who Killed the Night King. I wasn't offended by that. I'm glad Arya got her moment. A lot of people are not. And look, everyone's entitled to their opinions. But this is what's going to happen now. This is what fans do. This is what moviegoers do. This is what consumers do. They stick you with a badge, and until they, and this is so now they've got another problem. Unless Game of Thrones finishes in the correct manner, or how fans of certain other genres believe it should finish, there's going to be a problem now with Bainoff and Weiss. So you've got the Rian Johnson problem, but then later on you've got the Bainoff and Weiss problem, because this is where we are at now. We're all so fucking political and obsessed with our own agendas that we're not actually interested on the piece we're watching. We're obsessed. We're obsessed with politics. We're obsessed with not being offended all the time. We're all snowflakes. Doesn't matter what political side you're on. We're all snowflakes. We all get offended if commentary is made and it's not on the side that we believe in. Also, the entertainment industry has gone insane now with their political views and shoving them on there and making sure we know what they believe and what their opinions are. So it's become a very, very horrible, toxic environment with the way we watch TV shows and films and the way we talk about them. So time will tell. Time will tell what will happen. But Star Wars is in trouble, and it's the fans versus Lucasfilm at the moment. Lucasfilm have to turn this around. I believe the TV shows will go down well. It's just about what Bainoff and Weiss do with that trilogy, and if in fact Rian Johnson does get the Disney Plus trilogy on Disney Plus. I believe Rian Johnson won't be just kicked out with a flea in his ear. They won't want us to think we've won, and that's why I believe that they won't totally close down his trilogy, and they will in fact put it on Disney Plus.